Why are you doing this to me? You're messing up my schedule. I have a set thing going on, and then this decides to drop. I do want to talk about this. You know, this isn't just me trying to be clickbait. The thing is, I have some negative stuff to say about this, and I just want to make it clear right now, and as soon as I say I have something negative to say about this, people are just going to rail me, be like, oh, you're a classics lover, you don't like anything else other than that. No, just because I prefer the Showa era doesn't mean that I don't like new things. I mean, I love the Heisei series. I even like a lot of stuff with the Millennium series. Shin Godzilla's actually become one of my favorite Godzilla films of all time. But I actually want to say here that it's not actually in terms of the story. In Godzilla 2014, that was actually my biggest problem that I was fearing about, is it having a weak story. I am worried about here, but that's not what I'm complaining about here. That's not what I'm negatively going to be talking about here. Look, I like talking about good things on my channel. I have an easier time talking about things that I like than things that I dislike. And I like a lot about what I'm seeing in this trailer. A lot. It's badass. It's awesome. I can't wait to actually sit down and watch it when it finally comes out. But before I can even pass judgment, I just want to make it clear, this movie is not out yet. I like talking about things that I actually like, not things that I might potentially like or dislike. But I want to say this because I see a lot of fanboys in this community where, like, this movie can do absolutely no wrong. This movie is just perfect in every way, and they haven't even seen it yet. And once again, the fan base, also known as the Blight, is showing their utter intelligence. So once again, this isn't really scripted. I got some notes, but that's about it. So I apologize for the lack of professionalism here. I'm basically talking out of my ass. I do really want to do this, but I still have some shit to say. You know, there's so many people talking about this right now that they probably said half of what I'm going to say anyway. I'm seeing a lot of clickbait where people are like, check out what Mothra's new powers are. And then they don't really divulge anything, or there's like a 10-minute video and there's 4 ad breaks in it. That's just ridiculous. I don't want to come across like that at all, and yet that's kind of what I'm feeling like I'm doing, because I know that this will get more views than any of my other things. But I'm not trying to be clickbaity here. I think clickbait is the lowest common denominator in terms of content creators on YouTube. The King of the Monsters trailer 2 just dropped. My overall thoughts? I like trailer 1 better. I will say this, the trailer 2 had better dialogue here, with even some quips. I like the line where the Congress, that was actually the Senate woman is actually saying, so you want us to make Godzilla our pet? And everyone laughs, and then Serizawa goes, no, we would be his. Like, I like that line, and it's not played over the top either. And that was very important, because movies today have a big problem of people just sitting down and saying, we're going to speak in this brooding sort of tone. And he has that tone, but he doesn't say it over the top. It's not like Batman v Superman syndrome, where every line of dialogue was literally like that, so I like that. I just think I prefer trailer 1 better only because of the style of it. I like the slow. I like I like being able to see things for long periods of time and try to digest what I am seeing. The sort of flow of trailer 1 I like better than the editing in this. I'm not saying it's a bad trailer, that's just a personal preference. I did notice that they CGI'd out the camera in the opening montage. Oh yeah, I remember that mistake and laughing my ass off about it. It wasn't really a great way to start your marketing there. Once again, I love the color palette here as well. I'm a fan of color coding things. I like the blues specifically here instead of the greens that we had in the first film, or the yellows we had in the King Kong film. And I really truly hope that they're doing this with the new Godzilla cinematic universe here. I'm really curious to see if they continue that with Godzilla vs. Kong, which, stay tuned for an episode about that, by the way. Something that I do really like here is that they actually call the monsters Titans, and I think that's actually really cool. I'm a fan of when they give code names to something. Like in the Godzilla saga, I hate to harken back to that, but the only reason why I do that is because that's something I'm actually writing, I have full control over. But in the Godzilla saga, they actually call Godzilla most of the time Kaiju Alpha. That's his code name, just because every country has a different interpretation of what to call Godzilla. And so they just choose a generic one, and that's it. That's the name that sticks. And I like the fact that they're calling these monsters Titans. Now, I would like to see if they take it a step further. It would be neat if they actually incorporated some Greek mythology in here as part of the monster's backstory. Now, I don't mean religion-wise. What I mean is just like this could have been what the Greeks thought that these were gods, when in reality they were the monsters that we all know and love, and that these people are absolutely terrified with. And finally, I just want to say the Stenz is back! I love Stenz. Admiral Stenz for the win. Fuck yeah! It's very clear by this trailer that there are indeed other monsters in this other than Godzilla, Rodan, Mothra, and Anguirus. Or at least that's what the trailer is trying to tell us. Trailers have lied before. And there's a lot of speculations I've seen on Godzilla groups on Facebook and stuff like that I just want to laugh at them and call them stupid because they are. My guess is that these are all just generically created Mutos that Legendary Pictures and Warner Brothers and whatever, they have the full rights to, because these aren't supposed to be big monsters. These are just monsters that are supposed to be there for a little bit. And I believe we would have heard something from Legendary Pictures, something would have been leaked or something like that they had indeed purchased the rights to other monsters from Toho other than the collection that they have. Because, believe it or not, you don't just buy them in bulk. Legendary Pictures actually had to individually buy the rights to use Rodan, to use Mothra, to use King Ghidorah. So you can't just say, I would like Kaiju Package 1, and then suddenly get a bunch dropped on your feet. Though that would be actually kind of cool, I'm not going to lie. I believe that it's set in the future. And I believe that monsters are popping up all over the place, all over the world. Something kind of similar to what we saw on Godzilla Rulers of Earth, but hopefully handled a lot better than that, because that comic book fucking sucked. But monsters are popping up, and Godzilla or Monarch have been successfully killing them off. Monarch is either a G-Force-Anti-Megalosaurus group now, or Godzilla has become something like the one from Final Wars, where he's basically the Punisher on steroids. That is just speculation, but it's a cool one, and I'd like it if they did this, and I think some of the evidence would point to this. Thus, this movie would need to sort of take place a little bit in the future, about a decade probably, so not very far, and it couldn't be very far because of all the technology that we do see in it is stuff that we have roughly today. But who knows? I could be completely blowing out of my ass, but judging by what I'm seeing, that's probably what they're going for. Judging by the fact that they want Godzilla to be a pet, they don't know some of them are out to get them, and some of them are here to protect them, and so on and so forth, and they seem to be pointing towards Godzilla a lot, so my guess is that Godzilla has been fighting these other miscellaneous monsters and successfully killing them, and thus they're probably going to want him to protect them from King Ghidorah or whatever. Something random just to point out is that Mothra looks fucking mean. That one where she actually is looking at us, she looks so mean. And basically, I think moths are scary anyways, and like to chew, through my coat pocket, but you see, I always thought that she would be the one to unite Rodan and Godzilla to fight King Ghidorah, like they did in Ghidra the Three-Headed Monster, and it would make a lot of sense that she would be that way. She's the most relatable of the monsters, the most approachable of the monsters that have been listed here, but the trailer makes it look like Godzilla will actually be the one to do this through his alpha male persona. So I do like the fact that they bring up that King Ghidorah is the other alpha, and Godzilla's the other alpha, and they're fighting over dominance. I did kind of like that. It's the macho-ness in me, I guess. But as I've said before, trailers have misled us. I mean, just look at what 2014 did. The line, "Are you sure he's going to be okay?" looks like it's directed towards Godzilla in the trailer. Like she's asking somebody about Godzilla's condition. However, I'm betting that it's not. I'm betting that it's just the edit of the trailer that's driving that forward. Though I'm very curious as to who this teen girl is and how she incorporates to the plot. There's probably been some stuff leaked about it, but I haven't really looked at it because I don't like having everything spoiled to me with a movie that I really want to see. I've also heard some people like, oh, it's a kid. Why is there a kid? First off, she's not a kid. She's a teen. But I also just want to say that having kids, legitimate kids, in movies is not a bad thing. I thought Stranger Things would have taught some of us something, even though that is a good show, but it's just not my cup of tea. The kid actors in that were so good. That was good. But it just matters on how they're used, how we use them. I mean, to name some of the movies that I adore. Wrath of Daimajin, the last of the Daimajin trilogy, those series of films, that's a masterpiece. It's my favorite one. And all the main characters are kids. Gamera the Brave is a masterpiece. Now that I'm done with that, here's the negative thing that I was going to bring up. And I know you guys are probably going to kill me for this, but I don't care. I'm going to say this because I want to say it. The CGI here, not a fan. To be quite honest, I think this looks like something straight from a PlayStation 4 game, which, if it was a PlayStation 4 game, that would be amazing, but it's not. This is a movie. And I'll tell you why. It took me a while for me to sort of sit down and be like, what's wrong with this? Like, I would look at it's not quite Uncanny Valley. It's not like Tarkin from Rogue One. There was just something about this that I was like, no, this is wrong. Something about this isn't sitting right in my mind. And it wasn't until I started really rewatching it that it suddenly sank into me why. It's too smooth. There's too much of it. There's too much happening at once. It meshes together and you lose weight. Weight is what's wrong here. The hardest part of computer-generated imagery, ask anyone, is generating weight, gravity. How does it work? How do things land? Does it feel like it's actually landing, or does it feel like it's floating? And it's actually why a lot of people actually prefer practical effects or incorporate practical effects into their stuff, because if you have something really crumbling and falling or getting hit, guess what? There's real weight there. It's one reason why Shinji Higuchi in Shin Godzilla used a lot of practical effects for buildings crumbling and so on and so forth. CGI, you have to manually create that weight, and as easy as that sounds, it is not. It's like water. Water is so common, and so water and hair too. Everyone knows what it looks like. It's very hard to generate. Actually, one of the things that I think CGI has done very well is actually water. I actually think CGI water looks better than miniature waters because, water droplets that are normal size, you shoot them at high frame rates, just look too big. That's a genuine problem with using miniature effects. You see, there's trade-offs to everything that you do here. The weight is really off. Godzilla and Ghidorah charging each other, though cool in concept, it's so weightless. There's nothing there. They just look like literally two giant CGI monsters. My suspension of disbelief is huge. I mean, Shin Godzilla has some very questionable CGI in that movie, but yet I still enjoy it tremendously. But it just feels like I feel like I'm not looking at Godzilla and King Ghidorah charging each other. I'm looking at two CGI monsters. It's because they're weightless. They look like Godzilla, they look like King Ghidorah, but they're moving in a way that is just unbelievable, and there's no weight to their footstep. And this is how I knew, at least they were doing the right thing in 2014. When that shot, and you know which one I'm talking about, where Godzilla puts his foot down and everything gets quiet and you just see the ground shake, that had weight to it. That was weight. The way how Godzilla moved in that shot, there was weight. In fact, one of the things that I'll praise about 2014 is that it felt heavy. The fights felt heavy. There's none of that here. That shot where you see Rodan flying and then the jets are flying towards you and there's missiles firing and he flies up and he shoots, it looks so cool. Where's the weight? There's no weight there. That's the problem. They just look like CGI'd monsters. Now, I compare that to not only Godzilla 2014, but I want to compare it to Pacific Rim. And that was done by ILM. One of the things that impressed me so much about that movie is just the level of weight those monster fights gave us. I mean, look at the one specifically where Gypsy Danger is fighting the gorilla monster. I forgot its name, but that one. That had so much weight to it. And that's not in this trailer. Now, I wish to make it clear, movie's not out yet. It might be very well full of weight and everything like that, who knows, and maybe these are just some bad shots. And I hope that's the case. But we know that this is the final product, that this is going to be in the film, and so on and so forth. So that's my 2 cents on the whole matter, and sorry if that sort of bursts your bubble, or if you think I'm being a negative Nancy, and I'm really trying not to be, because I'm so excited to see this. I'm not a fanboy. I see something I don't really like, or something that doesn't sit well with me, I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna talk about it. No film is perfect. Sorry to burst your bubble. This is kind of a weird episode, and I'm sorry about this, but I hope you enjoyed. Please hit subscribe if you want to get updates on when I upload a new video. I try to do one every week. Go on Facebook, like AN Productions, follow us on Twitter, follow our website. All the links are in the description below. And in the end, this is Adam Noyce of AN Productions saying,
say the pretty words that I feel in my heart. If my voice could make the sound, I would tell you how I love you and we'd never be apart. But with just one look into your face, my mind starts to drift right into space.